What's up, everybody? This is Theo from Theo's Pets, and this is my Davis pentalores, or the Guatemalan tiger rump tarantula. We acquired a good bit of spiders here. I'll do a video on that and a couple other videos catching up, but what this is here, and I'll explain as we're taking some macro photos of this guy's nest while he's chilling there. We do have our catch cup and whatnot all handy and ready. So here soon is going to be a year since I got into this whole YouTubing and vlogging all of the animals and whatnot, as well as acquiring all of these snakes and lizards. It's been an interesting year since we started putting all of this projects and whatnot online. We've made some interesting friends, and one of these friends is Sarah from Rump and Reptiles, and I actually have a couple of her female crested geckos on loan for some breeding collaborations. So I figured it's a good ramp up into sorry, I was trying to get focused. I got a little distracted. As a good ramp up into a year in review video, I would do a little bit of an interview with her. Now, we ended up not having as much time as we anticipated, so the interview is more of just a conversation with video clips overlaid of some of the animals and whatnot we're talking about. So I'll post links and stuff to her pages in the description of the video, so you can check out what all she's got going on if you like any of the animals and whatnot you see or hear us talking about. So without further ado, I'm gonna play the intro, and y'all can watch that nice interview while I finish trying to get some cool pictures. Appreciate you.
Okay, so when I got the agamas,
We're recording, and that's what that is, just to give you a heads up.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
So when I got the agamas, they had this mountain lizard, and I'm like, okay, I can't buy everything, right? I'm gonna leave it. Somebody else will get it.
Right.
No, it's been there for a few weeks.
Yeah?
And they require high humidity. It's sitting in there at 30% every time I go grab crickets.
Yeah, that's not good.
I'm like, you guys are killing it. Anyway, that's one of the ones I sent you. Is that little guy? Yeah, because
he was cute.
He's super
Just
cute.
a little one on the vine. Yeah, he was cute.
He's always hanging there. He's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, you need me to save you, don't you? You're giving me the save me signal. So, you know, I had to. I cleared out some space because I binned a couple people over here and figured out the crocodile skink bin system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably like it better because it's opaque, though, because they're supposed to be really, like, skittish, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very skittish. They actually really like it. I have seen them more. The guy was not joking. Like, I have seen them more in these than I've seen them at all in any other enclosure. The
glass enclosures, yeah. They probably feel more hidden because they can't see out of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. So. And I've got them piggybacking, you know, with some light and having it just far enough away, because they don't
need much. Right?
No, and they seem to like it. I keep catching them in their pools and everything, and I'm like, all right, you're really happy. Although I still have 3 dudes. I have 3 dudes and a lady.
Well, hey, at least you have a female now, though. Now you just did a female armadillo lizard.
I think I need 2 because I ended up with 2 different kinds. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I got the one guy chilling over here.
Mm-hmm.
He's a completely different color and a completely different kind. And I was looking up something earlier, and ended up, there's this place called New Scale Herpiculture, and they were talking about how it's like there's been like a trend in that these lizards are a different, you know, they look like let me see if I can pronounce it right.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I know. I'm like, I was practicing it earlier. Cordillus Veraduci.
Okay.
Veraduci. But they look really similar to them, but they're not actually them, and that people have been grabbing and importing, which I did see in a.
Will they mate though? Can you mate them?
I don't know. One of them seems like this guy is more terrestrial, or like he likes it a little more moist. Like if I he like really likes water. The other one likes to hang out on the enclosure and in the like the screen tank. I put it in a screen tank. Happiest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm like,
they might
corn
be
snakes you can
different.
mix with like different snakes you can mix them and across the board and not have anything weird. So I'm not sure. But they only have 1 or 2 babies. 1 to 5 babies a year.
Okay.
And then they just have like their live birth, and then they like living in communities and they don't like to be alone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These are the ones that they need partner. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I've got a couple. I reached out to another breeder too. I actually found an actual breeder that has both of them. Rockabirdy Reptiles. They actually have a breeding program that they've been working on. So I'm like, okay, well, I reached out to both those people because I'm really curious to see like what they think these things are, because they were trying to check and see what's coming in from where, because they think there's this one spot like right next to Kenya where they're pulling them out of.
So it's like a specific locale of this lizard?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I was really curious as to what exactly they found out, because it's definitely a different lizard.
Right. No, the colors are completely different. One's like brown and reddish.
Yeah.
So that's the one that was crawling upside down on top of the lid.
Headphones. Yeah, that's one crawling on the lid, and this one just chills right here on the rock and likes to watch while I feed everybody.
Gotcha.
And still here. Just chilling. Right. Where are you at?
Oh, right there. I see you. Word.
Out. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. Because the Agama does that too. The boy one, the girl one's always hiding. They eat the Crested Gecko food.
Yeah? Well, that's convenient. Right. Well, that's convenient.
Yeah, because they're supposed to eat fruit.
Right.
Huh. So, I threw some Pandia in there and they're eating it because usually.
Right, I mean, that's fortified and stuff, so it's got the calcium and whatnot in it. So awesome.
It'll kill them.
Right. Oh, so check this out. All right. So speaking of breeders, so I showed you earlier that I showed you that TikTok where I got my box of tarantulas and they were all open and crawling all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I only found 1 out of the 3 that were supposed to be in there. So I ordered 2 and they sent me a freebie. Okay. I have no idea what the freebie was, no idea what it looks like. That's relevant to this. All right. So I sent you the video earlier today where I was using the bathroom and then the tarantula was crawling up my leg. Right, so I send a picture of it to the breeder, and I'm like, which one is this? Because they have to be housed differently. You know what I'm saying? Right. And he proceeds to tell me that that is not a tarantula, that I have adopted some rando spider that is just living in my house and just coincidentally happened to find it when I'm skeptical that there might be tarantulas loose in my house. So it's either a trapdoor spider or a wolf spider, but it is not a tarantula. So
that's crazy.
Right? So I have no idea what it is, but it's living on my bookshelf right now. So we'll see what happens. It's eating like a champ. So,
well, at least it likes food and isn't crawling around the house anymore.
This is true. It's missing a leg too. So I don't know. We'll see what's up. But then tomorrow I've got another box of spiders coming in to replace that box of spiders that came in loose everywhere. And then I ordered a camera and it should be here the 29th or something like that, so I can start getting some like macro photos of them, hopefully, ideally, because they're pretty chill. Like I've got like Miss Matilda over here, for example. I mean, I don't know, the majority of them are super chill with the exception of I have this Brazilian black and white, and it is just absolutely bonkers, but
all over the place.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's just really fast too. That's the other issue. Is like, because I mean, he's tiny enough that I'm scared I'm going to squish him if I try to catch him, and he's fast enough like you have to try to catch him very quickly, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, so, I get it. My morning geckos are fast too, and like you can't catch them like for nothing.
Right, and I mean, if you try too fast, yeah, if you hit them too hard, going so fast, you'll squish them. So that's where we're at with it, but we'll see what happens. He's doing all right, though. He's getting big. So I don't know if
I
you
keep looking at pink top tarantulas because, like, I'm like, okay, I'm like, I think I want one. Every time I go to the store, I'm like, all right, maybe, because I have an empty tank.
You should honestly. So like when I first got Matilda, the one I just showed you, I'm actually horrified of spiders. Like, well, they're cool when they're like right there. I just don't like the way they feel like moving on me. And so I got Matilda because she was about dead when I saw her. So I was like, whatever, she doesn't deserve to die. So then I got that Cobalt Blue was the second one I got, which experience wise was probably a misstep. I should have probably Googled it, but my phone was dead at the pet store. And the girl at the pet store told me that it was about the same as my avicularia, but in reference here, the avicularia is like number 2 on the most friendly, like beginner level spiders, and this Cobalt Blue is literally the number 1 most dangerous. Like, you need 4 years of experience in old worlds to handle it. Like, so at that point I was just like, you know what, well, if we're already doing that, screw it, so now we've got I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them now, and then like 3 more coming in tomorrow. So, but I'm no longer horrified of them because as soon as you go to rehouse them, they run all over you. They like teleport. They're super fast. So I mean, it's an interesting experience. You should totally get one. I'm not joking.
I'd go just to try.
Don't start with an old world. That's all I gotta say. Just don't start with the old world ones, and you'll be alright. So
I figured that the pink toe was probably an easy way to start.
The pink toe, or I looked at the curly hair and the rose hair were both really cool. There's some Afana Pelmas that are really cool for beginners. It really depends on if you want something that's going to be out and about, like, and showing off itself, something that you have to like build an enclosure, like a pretty enclosure for it to be in, or something you want to like web up and make it really cool. It really depends on what you're looking for, because they don't really do much aside from like post up. So it really depends on what you want the tank to look like, because some of them literally just look like a bucket of dirt. Because like the Cobalt Blue, like, it's fossorial, so I mean, it really needs the one plant in the back, and it webbed it up, so now it just looks like, you can't even tell it's a plant. It just looks like dirt because they just like pulled all the coconut fiber up there, and then it's dug down about 6 inches. You never see it's literally just a jar of dirt. So
never see them. The mantis that I got, she just chills, and you can tell when she's shedding, because she'll just like, it'll seem like she's dead, and she'll just be hanging somewhere. And other than that, you usually just gotta look for her where she's hiding in something. But she's not bigger, thankfully. She's not, like this. She's actually like this now.
Well, they live like a year, so they should grow pretty quickly, shouldn't they? Isn't that about their lifespan, roughly like a year and a half, something like that?
Yeah, and she was supposed to be an N4, but she was more like a 2.
Okay.
She's tiny, so I figured I'd have her for the whole time. But okay. She's really cool, so. But I like her, so I figure, all right, well, the spider's probably not that much different, because, It's
just fast. It's just faster.
Yeah, they're fast too. Yeah, I can tell when it's a good time to do it and when it's not, because she'll act different. Yeah, if it's like a good time to clean her stuff out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm like, is it a good time or not? My one acts a lot. I can tell if her tank's off, because she acts weird too.
Right. Well, see, honestly, when I first started researching all these spiders, the vibe you get off of a lot of what you see and read online is like they're almost mean to an extent. So like you go in there and like they're immediately going to throw up their legs and just be like, what's going on? But realistically, I'm working with an old world, then a whole bunch of new worlds, but ranging from fossorial, terrestrial, and arboreal. And going in the cages, 90% of the time, like it'll literally just come and like post up and just kind of watch you, or they just dismiss themselves. So it's not been anywhere near as intense as it really like is portrayed when you watch like videos on YouTube and whatnot. Like, especially when you start looking at some of the faster ones, like the Guatemalan tiger rump I have, the green bottle blue is supposed to be really, really like fast and kind of interesting to work with. But I mean, I don't know. I give them a little bit bigger enclosures than what I've been seeing on YouTube, for example, because most people keep them in like pill bottle size things, for example. So like with the green bottle blue, the really fast, like that's one of the fastest new worlds. That's what they say you're supposed to get into before you start getting into the old worlds, trying to transition to that speed. I have it in a little bit bigger of a Tupperware dish, and I have I posted some of them on the TikTok, but I mean, and I'll try to link one here in post or whatever. But I mean, like in that bigger dish, with me able to move and not have, because what they respond to is your breath more than anything, is they feel the air movement on their hairs. And so with it having a little bit more space, I get in there, I put my camera all up on it. I mean, I don't even zoom in. I literally put my phone right on top of it. I've been down and get all these nice camera angles, and it really doesn't move, or it just very gently just walks around. And I feel like it's because with the more space, what's happening is, so with the little tiny pill bottle, that it's a webbing spider. So use the green bottle blue, for example. It's a webbing spider, so it's going to web up the entire enclosure. With that tiny amount of space, effectively, that entire little thing you have it in becomes its den because there's not that much room there. So when you rip the top off of this thing, you're literally ripping the top off of its nest because it doesn't have room for a nest and then excess space. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I open the top off of this here, he's got this whole corner here webbed, and this is actually over here is not webbed, and that's where I leave the food for him to scavenge. And he'll go dismiss himself down to the web for a second, and then just come back up and post up. And I'm over here doing my work, misting, doing whatever, and like I'm not having to breathe on him or look directly at him. I can see him in my peripherals, and he's watching me work. But with not being so directly up on him, he's not bolting like they're prone to do. At least not with the few times I've been in the cages I've had him. You know, so knock on wood. But as he gets bigger, maybe he'll get a little more skittish. I'm not sure. But I mean, as of right now, from what I've seen online with videos, it's nowhere near as crazy as they make it seem. You know what I mean? And maybe I just have good spiders, you know, but because I'm also learning that a lot of them, depending on the species too, will have independent personalities. They say they don't, but when you start talking to and listening to a lot of readers and whatnot, and I don't mean like emotionally intelligent enough to like you call it by its name and it'll come to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But some of them will be more skittish than others. Some will be more defensive. Some will be more prone to throw hair. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, and they're just cool to watch move around. So, I mean, I definitely suggest getting one if you're interested in them. Just make sure you're comfortable with something that moves super fast, because I was honestly startled by how fast these things move. I thought the avicularia, the pink toe, I thought it moved fast. And then that tiger rump, when I got it, it went from one corner of the cage to out and on me before I could blink. I mean, it teleported. It was absolutely bonkers. It was cool, like a little bit of adrenaline rush because I wasn't ready for it. Didn't know what to expect after the first time, but the first time you're just like, oh my god, what just happened? Like, where is it? It's on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it was cool. I mean, it wasn't like running up on me to bite me or anything. It literally just like posted up and then ran back on the thing, was just looking at me, and I just kind of grouped it in the enclosure. But I mean, it's now that I've been working with them and had them like, I didn't have the option, but for them to like invade my space, you know what I mean? There's no reason. I'm no longer horrified of them. There's really no reason to be. They're not these crazy things like I thought they were. They're just, I don't know. It still just feels weird. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the way when I rehoused them, especially like the striped knee, for example, if it was going to bite me, it probably would have. And it more so just removed itself. So hopefully it'll keep those habits. But I mean, I've had closer situations with the snakes so far, and I've honestly never been bit by the snakes. So I mean, it is what it is, you know. But
I mean, I've probably been headbutted by my goats harder than
yeah, dude, goats or something. That's a whole nother ball game.
So, yeah, so, I mean,
That's a whole.
right. That. I haven't gotten bit by anything. Like, no, I don't think. No, nobody's bit me ever yet. I haven't had babies yet. Like, okay, except for my own that I got that were not infant, newborns.
Mhm.
But my one Dunner lady that I got, she seems to be a little cranky. She's hissed at me a few times. I'm like, really? Yeah. What are you doing? But nobody's ever bit me.
I got bit by one of the Pac-Man frogs one time, and I guess this might technically kind of count as a bite. The blue-eyed leucistic python I have, the first day I had it, it had a piece of coconut fiber like literally hanging out of its mouth, and I thought it would be a good idea to try to like reach up and just rip it out right under those heat sensors, and I got one tooth just kind of like in the tip of my thumb. I did get bit by the lily white crested gecko one time though, so because I was spoon feeding him, and I had some on my hand, and he just came in hot, like,
He
and
was
just got
hungry.
Yeah, and he got the corner of my thumb, and I was honestly a little surprised on how hard those things can bite. Then I talked to some other people that said they can draw blood. I've
Oh
never
yeah.
had one like bite me aggressively. You know what I mean? Because that was he wasn't trying to bite me. He was going for food, so I would imagine he could bite harder if he was trying to hurt. You know what I mean? But I was surprised at how hard that bite was. So I can only imagine this thing like. I mean, they very well could draw blood, but that was surprising to be completely honest with you. So,
Yeah,
but.
I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, it can't be like as bad as like a tokay or anything, but I mean, leopard geckos look like they could hurt too. They got some pretty hefty looking jaws. You know what I'm saying?
I actually inherited one, so I had another friend whose kid was going to college, and I got their leopard gecko, and it's say okay. Well, I don't think this thing's ever been really held. Would
Yeah.
probably be a safe bet.
Right.
It's pretty. I mean, it's full size. So, and I'm like, I picked it up and did a little pet, little
Yeah.
he liked me and climbed up. We did a
Right.
little bit, but the size of its mouth, I'm like looking at my thumb, like you could probably, especially because you're strictly meat eater, probably take a good little, nice little sting on that.
I know 100%. Like I was looking at a golden tegu in one of the pet store here the other day. I want an Argentine black and white, but they're illegal in South Carolina now, and they get. I mean, that's a pretty hefty lizard. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, we can have them here.
Yeah. So we're thinking about relocating to Tennessee to deal with some of these, like, so for example, I told you I got the hognose, which technically I'm not supposed to do things with here. But I found, have you seen, do I have my phone? So hognoses, there's not a lot of morsel hognoses out, but there is this cool one. And this is what I want to mate my. I thought this was photoshopped at first, but they're on Morph Mart. Like, and I found a bunch of people breeding them. But there are now tricolor hognoses.
Oh, what? Those are cool.
Right. So I want to get one of those to that western. But if I'm going to start selling them, I have to be in a different state. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we're looking at Tennessee. I think I told you that before, though. So hopefully that pans out. We invested some money in cryptocurrency, so knock on wood, we didn't misstep. You know what I'm saying? But within the next 5 years, hopefully we can go get some more space, because the issue I'm having now is I've got room for next season. I'll have room for the baby crested geckos, the one ball python, but I need another female ball python, and then that would mean room for more babies. The hognose, and which would mean more room for more babies. And then I have 2 decently rare tarantulas that I'm probably going to look into breeding out. And that's anywhere between 100 to about 800 babies. So space-wise, I have to be super, super careful with what I do from this point forward. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. So here's a funny. You know who doesn't own a python?
Like you have a.
I don't. I have the corn snake.
You have a jungle carpet python, don't you?
I was gonna get one, but I never did.
Oh, so you sent me the picture. I thought you got the one you sent me the picture of.
I wanted to, and I'm like, and then I was like, I don't have to do that kind of a big space, so I don't have one.
Well,
so in our collaborative breeding, if you don't have room for one, I could probably, find one and house it here, because
what I was gonna say is, since I kind of sort of kidnapped your lizard, I'll probably just send you a bale, like, for you to have anyway. You know what I'm saying? Since I kind of kidnapped your lizard over here. But the solid white one,
she imprinted on you. She likes you.
She does. That's my buddy. But she's getting pretty hefty too. I'm really hoping, sex-wise, that my lily white ends up being a male, because I want to make her one season to lily white and then one season to the olive with the high white sides, and see kind of what happens with the offspring from there. But I'm really thinking thinking her highlights with that lily white on top of it will make some pretty solid lily white babies. So fingers crossed, you know. So this needs to be a boy, but with the way my luck's been working out, it's probably gonna be a girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it looks like my so my Halloween, because we have a bunch actually that are pretty similar. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Halloween looks like it's gonna be a girl. It's getting pretty hefty. The brindle, I'm not 100% sure. I might see crusticles coming in, but I'm really not 100% on that. My patternless Dow looks like it's coming to be a girl, and then everything else is still pretty much too small to really get a gauge on, like concretely. You know what I'm saying? So I really need to get jewelers.
Yep, I've got the same issue because I have the one girl that's going to be ready because I was going to ship her to you in the spring. So I've got her. And then I've got the next one up would be my Halloween, and they have not shown any sort of. I thought I saw some bulging, but it didn't. It didn't do its thing like that.
Right.
My other one that's kind of like somewhat lavender-ish. Sometimes fire's dark. That little weird guy that I have. I'm not even sure what to even call him because like he just like changes to so many colors. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, are you the same? Like, are you the same gecko? Like, did you change your? What did you do? Like, who are you? Like, I've had things that's like this big. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Hermes is presenting. I thought, no, I'm pretty sure a girl. So the only thing I have is that that tiger striped ink splot dude.
Huh. See, honestly, I really thought Hermes was going to be a boy. I really thought Hermes was going to be,
So far, I'm like, please be a boy, because like it'd be, I mean, he'd be really pretty.
Right.
I'm like,
I mean, honestly, I mean, you only really need. So, how many geckos do you have in house right this second? Not counting.
I got 7, 8.
And you've only got one boy.
Yep.
So you would need. Honestly, you only need like one, maybe two other boys, and you can stud out your entire room.
I want one. I'm not sure if I want to try to go towards like the all white realm into the lily, or just like go dark and go like a charcoal or something like that. I'm having a hard time deciding because I'm like, I like both so much, and I'm like, maybe I need one of each. But then you're like talking about like, small cheap car.
Right. Well, see, that's what I was about to say. So I've been looking at that too, and so I've been looking at saving up to get a ready to breed lily white female. I've shied back on that, and I'm actually gonna use that to go towards that tricolor hognose, because what I'm noticing on Morph Market now is, now that season's coming through, there's a lot more lily white on the market than there was. So I feel like here within the next year or so, it's going to flood a little bit, if that makes sense. Whereas the charcoal, that's literally a car. Like, some of them are like legit 30 grand. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm like, all right then, like, how many new pair of shoes?
Right. Well, see, I was thinking about, and see, this is the crappy part about that though. You can get a 55% head Azantic for like 4 or 5 grand, which means you have a 55% chance of it giving you Azantic babies, which are $30,000 babies. So, but a 50-50 shot on a $5,000 lizard, I'm not a gambling person. You feel me? Like, that's a lot of money to take on a 55-45 split. You know what I mean? So at least for me, that's a lot of money on a 45-55 split. So
I'm like in my head, I'm like doing the math. I'm like, I mean, you spend 45, and then you make, how much times every clutch. I'm like doing the math. I'm like, even if they all ended up at 50, I'm like, still,
Well, because see, the thing
I
is,
can probably do something with that.
But if it doesn't prove out the Azantic, then it really depends, I guess, on what because you would go from like $30,000 lizards to like back into the like $300-400 lizard realm, like without the Azantic being present. So that's why I was just
have to make sure you go to like somewhere that that they've been breeding out and proving their lines.
Well, I mean, the 55 head Azantic I found was through Altitude Exotics, who is where I've got my
that's who I was looking at too.
Pangea. But I mean, right? But I mean, like it's not old enough to breed, so you can't tell for sure if it holds axanthic or not. You know what I'm saying? And so I mean, you really have a 55% chance of it having it. So that's the risk you're taking at buying it at the cheaper price at the 55%. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? See, but then again, I've got this coral glow ball python that might be triple headed, and I still have to. I bought a ghost ball python to prove out heads. I just have to let it get a little older. And then I've got 2 people with clowns to let me mate too, but he's not eating every time he's supposed to, so he's not getting as big as he needs to. However, this guy who was not supposed to eat at all, so they apparently completely just switched. The coral glow was supposed to be unsocialized, and just and an eating machine. This one was supposed to be anxiety ridden and a trouble eater, and they have completely switched. He is eating like a champ right now.
Aww.
So he
I
is.
was reading how they just like that they just love their owners, and that once they get used to their people, that they're just like, you know, I mean, what did I read? African kings used to wear pythons just like every day, all day.
Well, so it's weird. So like I don't know. They say reptiles can't really form like a loving bond, and I can kind of get that, but it's really just like I don't know. It's more like a trust thing. So like as you can see with him, for example, like I just got him out. We're not. I mean, they're called ball pythons because they get nervous and go into balls. You know what I'm saying? But we're even with all the lights, the cameras, you and I talking, like we're not balling up. We have good, slow, healthy tongue flicks. We're exploring. Like, and it's just because we've had enough just positive, good experiences that he knows that, like, when I go in the cage and get him, I'm not going to hurt him. He's either going to get food or it's going to be a positive experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's just chill. But
they're all like that because I feel like reptiles are like that. Just period. They make, you know. I mean, I got that Cuban false lizard, and that guy was super skittish, and he's super chill. He'll come out in your hand and like hang out. So yeah. They might not be able to form that emotional bond, but I think for them, just that trust bond is probably better.
Right. Well, I mean, like, if you think about it from their perspective, too, I mean, like, I'm a big dude. I mean, I'm big enough to eat this thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, just come out of nowhere and just, like, rip it up off the ground. Like, I mean, if something came with, like, 20 times your size and just came and just, like, ripped you up off the ground and started, like, looking all up in your face, you'd be horrified. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
right. So, you have to learn that, like, that's okay to let that happen. And I feel like that's what you kind of have to do with these things is, like, yeah, I'm literally a giant monster, but, like, I promise I'm not going to eat you. Like, they just have to learn that it's all right. But
yeah,
he's ready to breed now. So he was sold to me as a pastel Mojave. I do not see Mojave in him at all, which I'm working in the blue out of the cystic complex, which is why I needed the Mojave. What I'm honestly seeing in him now that he's getting bigger is pastel calico.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with him. To be honest with you, I might still mate him to the lesser and see what happens, or maybe to the ghost. But the bale ended up being a boy. So what that means is, even though I kind of needed it to be a girl, if I made it to the big female that I already have, the one that might be pregnant now, there's a 50% chance of making solid white snakes. So, and I'm pretty sure
your favorite.
Yeah, that's the one I'll show you now. What's up, Oda? So we were poking our head out. And we're getting big enough to breed now too. So next season I should be able to start popping some of these, and like I said, I will send you one. But this is Oda, and we're getting pretty hefty.
Oh my gosh, so pretty.
They were the problem child when we got them. It took me forever to get them to eat, and then it took me forever to switch them over to frozen thaw, but now they're eating every week like a champ. So
I'm still eating live because the lady I got him from after she rehabbed him, she had him live. So he is so pretty. I can't wait. Like I'm so excited. Like that is like the snake of my dreams right there.
And he shed apparently.
Nice. My daughter actually, my oldest, took one of our snake sheds and had it inlaid in her acrylic fingernails.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
turned out pretty
that's
cool
really
too.
cool.
Yeah, I should see if I get a picture of it.
Oops.
See, I have no snakes really, except for the one that's my one kid has Sasuke held up in their room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their buddy. So I like the rosy boas too because they're kind of like what, 2 feet at best, so they're smaller.
Yeah, I
And I
got
heard
you.
they move kind of slow, so I want to try one of those at some point.
Have
If
you
I can
seen?
find one, they have ones that are confetti, and they are like just they're white with spots, and they look like they're confetti, but they're really kind of hard
Yeah,
to find. And but they're really
yeah, yeah. I heard rosy boas in general were kind of hard to find, but it's because they're uh, sought after. But here, this
well.
might
I'm
be
right above
good.
California, and I think California we got easy time finding them here because I could drive down and go.
See, we have the same issue with children's pythons. We have a hard time finding those. Do you know what that is?
Is that the hognose?
No, this is a Kenyan sand boa. It'll also get only about 2 feet.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I was looking at those too.
yeah, they have some really cool like Arctic white ones and stuff. Like, and these are pretty chill little just like hand snakes too. If you're looking for something just like small and like be a buddy with you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wanted to get a little. Oh hi, I wanted to get a little buddy. You're so cute. What's up? What are you doing, friend?
Used to be super skittish. The only weird thing about them is like, so unlike corn snakes and like ball pythons who can like really kind of wrap and like reticulate around you, he's more of like a sausage, as you can tell. He doesn't really
Yeah,
like coil. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
you kind of have to be careful with them moving because they will just fall to the floor.
Aw,
So,
that's so cute. It's
but
so
you should check
tiny.
into them. They're really cute little things too. They'll just ride around in your pocket. So like, I mean, if you're looking for a little buddy snake, that's also. But I mean, you can't go wrong with boas. I want to mate my BCI to an Aztec boa, but that I definitely don't have the room for that. Like,
What kind of female boa are you missing? Because if I'm
um,
looking at getting any,
honestly, if you're gonna get a female boa, let me see. I got my phone. I was looking at these Aztec boas were sick, and true red tails are always really pretty too. But I feel like those are too easily to come by now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, everybody's getting the. Oh yeah, those are pretty, but yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
So that's the Aztec.
You said Aztec?
Yeah. Um,
Aztec boa, first thing that popped up.
and then there was a darker morph.
Ooh, this guy's pretty, but it's a guy, not a girl.
That is pretty. But yeah, it's a guy on a gore.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. A little on my price range, but she's definitely.
Oh, she is pretty. Yeah, no, the Aztecs, if I remember correctly, were decently priced. Like expensive, you know what I'm saying? What was the other one?
Oh my gosh, did you see the Sunglow Aztecs?
No, but I bet that's pretty.
Here's one right here. It goes along the lines of that red. Yeah,
Whoa. Yeah, no, that's gorgeous. I bet that's expensive though.
actually no. It's only 22.
And then I was liking these two, this MIG. It reminds me of a blood python.
Ooh. I like how the colors change on the way back. Oh, that's cool.
Right, and apparently it has like black eyes. And then here's a darker version of it. The MIG, this is possible Het Black Devil.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that would be cool as hell to breed that with the white snake.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
You should send me what that one was.
I gotcha. I will send it.
My ADD lizard brain will remember nothing in 5 minutes. It won't remember what it was.
You know what? Fair enough. It's gonna. If I send it to you, it'll make you try to sign in. I'm just gonna take a screenshot of it and send it to you on Facebook.
Yeah. I hate how it does that off Messenger. It makes you sign in again.
Well, now when it does it, like when you sign in, it takes you back to the home search screen. It doesn't even take you to the link that you send. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they ruined it. I was
Yeah.
like, that's rude. And like, it used to work.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, those are all really pretty. I'm gonna have to look into it because I have a lot. I don't know what is up with Spokane, but we have tons of boa, like just crazy like boa like breeders here, and there's tons. I don't know what it is about, but there's tons here. And then we're right up from California, and everybody goes out there and captures or whatever the rosy boas. Because one of my friends is from California. She's like, let's go out and catch them. They just lay there on the rock.
We don't find a lot. We don't see a lot of rosy boas and stuff out this way. Really, though, I was honestly surprised here in Myrtle Beach. There's really not many reptile people at all. There's 2 python breeders I'm aware of, and another Crested Gecko breeder in Conway, which is like 45 minutes up the road. But there's no big pet store. There's just 2 chain pet stores, and then that one that I sent you to about the axolotls, but they're not really that big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm excited about that guy.
Yeah, he's something. I think he's about to sell that store though. And then we get 1 reptile show a year. I don't know if you guys get like reptile expos or anything like that up that way, but we get Repticon once a year, but that's it. We don't get any like reptile conventions or anything. I really thought because the beach here is such a big area, there'd be a lot more of that kind of stuff going on, but there's really not. So, and South Carolina used to have very, very lenient laws about all of this until literally about 4 or 5 months ago. They passed, there was a pig hunting law they passed, and then like they literally just at the last minute attached to it, outlawed hots, outlawed some of the larger constrictors, and just a whole bunch of random stuff just like overnight. So
I've heard that they can do that.
It's like
about that.
And then they were trying to hit people with fines, like for every like hot you had. It was like if you didn't get a permit for each individual. So the other thing is too, if you got the permit, it wasn't for like your whole room. It was for each individual animal. But like
about money at that point.
Right, but if you didn't get the permits, then you still got fined for having the animal. So either way, you had to pay at like to the point that like people on Facebook were offering to take in people's animals until we could figure out what to do because of law. Because like nobody knew, because like nobody wanted to. I mean, you either surrender them and pay the fines, or you buy the permits. And either way, it's a lot of money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's not cool. After you think there was some grandfather clause in there because otherwise, it's like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
I think those pine snakes, those black pine snakes that I liked, I couldn't get those out of Wisconsin. Like there would have been no way I could have got, and I wanted those really bad, but they don't. You can't take them out of the state. So it's like crazy how they just decide these things, and you're like, okay. So certain snakes, just certain stuff in certain places, and it's just Washington's very open. Although the venomous, I think you can get special licenses here for breeding. I think they had some sort of restriction in breeding that you had to have a license to breed with them.
Yeah. See, that was the only grandfather in clause for the hots and stuff here would be you had to be permitted as you had to already be sanctioned as like a research facility, a breeder, a milker or something, but it mostly targeted hots. So, but I mean, there was apparently a decent bit of hot keepers here because once again, this is one of the few states that like it was like the 1930s. There was no rules. It was a free for all up until that. You know what I mean? And they also hit tegus. Everything but golden tegus got banned at that point. I think they tried to do iguanas, but I don't think that ended up going through. But iguanas are a menace anyway. So
you guys have them because it's warmer there, right? You guys, it gets cold there though because you had a freeze.
We don't have wild iguanas, no. You can find them pretty regularly in the pet store for like $30 here, though. They sell them a lot. I mean, hell, well, crap. I'm gonna have to bleep that out. But you can find them in. So we have these big bargain, everything $5 and under, like beach stores. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say everything $5 and under, but it's a trap. They advertise from the road everything $5 and under, but when you walk in, there's a small section of the store that's $5 and under. But the store is named like $5 and under. It's like the name of the store. I know this is all confusing, but it's relevant.
Oh
But
no,
you go in there and you can buy the tank, and if you buy the tank, you get the iguana for free. So for like $25, they give you like a 10-gallon like little glass tank and a heat rock, which hopefully you throw away because I didn't know that's still a thing. They still sell those in the Petco. Like, and it blew my mind. I also yelled at the woman in the Petco because they had a corn snake on a heat mat with no thermostat. And don't even sell thermostats. Like, they don't even sell thermostats. So, yeah, no.
I feel like you're gonna burn everything. What are you doing?
Well, the Petco here had a Bainfield Animal Hospital in it, and then I used to do in-home caretaking for this elderly woman. A girl across the street from that woman's house was one of the vets in the Bainfield that worked in the Petco, and she told me a story about a corn snake that got melted to a heat mat, and they had to like literally pry it off, and it ripped all the skin off its stomach, and they had to like wrap it in gauze like a little snake burrito. So
that's horrible.
yeah. So, and that's the Petco that I buy a Crested Gecko from every time I go in there. Which I'm starting to think maybe I should quit doing that because maybe that's the only reason they keep getting more. You know what I'm saying? So
they're like, we know who's gonna take on this stuff.
Right. So
the Petco that we have here, they're pretty cool. Like that's where I got the first Armadillo at, and the guy that's the manager, I think he's been there since I got my first Russian tortoise, probably, let's see, almost 13 years ago, because she's almost 13. And so he usually orders cool stuff that you'd like. I mean, I'm like mountain lizard. I'm like, where in the heck you get a mountain lizard? I'm like, I can't even find them online like at all.
Right.
And the agamas, I can get them from some weird people, but like they were some really weird stuff. And I'm like, aside from the fact that they don't ever do the humidity right, ever.
He might be like buying and selling stuff off Craigslist. Like I've thought about doing that a few times, to be honest with you, because sometimes you like those moon crabs I found the other day.
Oh
like,
yeah, I found some. I want one now. I'm so jealous. They're so cool.
Like the two of them for $20, that's a steal. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
So, but I don't know if the one bigger one that's more white, it might be a rainbow crab. I'm not 100%. I'm not a crab person. Not 100% sure, but if it is, it needs to be housed completely differently. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, because I mean, look at me and these dudes. It's the same.
Right, you know, that's a fair point. That's a very fair point. Like they look similar enough that like they were sold to me as the same thing. Yeah. But I'm looking,
and then you're like, wait a minute. You're like,
right, and then I started reading online that commonly happens, and like I'm just like I don't know about it, but they're also just giant buckets of dirt. Like
yeah, those things are so cool. I found one online somewhere. Somebody's selling one of them, and I'm like, where could I put it? Because I'm like, you know, I can't tub everybody. Well, I mean, I could, but.
Well, they don't. I don't know about shipping them, but look, if you ever come to Myrtle Beach, you could probably take them home with you. I'll be honest with you.
Take them on the plane with me. I'll be like, it's okay. It's my emotions.
There you go. Like I just like the little faces. They look sad. Like, especially when you catch them from that like above angle. But I'm hoping to just get some I like their colors. I'm hoping to get some cool pictures and stuff of them. But
at least you can actually see them, because I've never seen my hermit crabs ever. I know they're doing good because they got holes, but that's it.
Well, first off, you can hear them, and it's horrifying. Because so the way we have everything set up now is in the room I'm in here. This is the gecko breeding room, so it stays roughly between it drops down to 68 at night, but it sits between 72 to 75, 76 throughout the day, fluctuating back and forth. So for the sling spiderlings, which most of them can come into this temperature range once they hit juvenile to adult ages, but in the small spiderling stage they're still in, they need a little bit higher humidity and a little bit higher temperatures. So I have them in the bathroom sitting it fluctuates between 76 to 78 in there. So then in the other bathroom, I have the crabs, which is now 82 degrees in there. So I don't even use that bathroom anymore because, like, you just sweat. You know what I'm saying?
Cooking people hot in there. You're like, no.
But before, the few times I have used it since the crabs have been in there, you'll be, whatever you're doing, brushing your teeth, whatever, and you can hear them because they burrow like a lot, and they're building these intricate tunnels under the substrate, but you can hear their little claws hitting the glass, just like nails on chalkboard. And so, like, you're very aware that they're in there. And then if you, it's the same thing actually with done this to the poor spider. I thought I about killed the thing. So if you walk into the bathroom at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you just flip the big light on, because like most bathrooms have the really bright light and then the small little like fan light thing, you know what I'm talking about? If you go and flip the big light on, everything in the room panics. And you'll literally see the crabs bombed. I mean, I didn't know these things move that fast. It just sideways scuttled to it. It had dug this giant hole that like I didn't even know was there behind the water dish, because I gave them a good like about a foot of substrate. So and it's just dug it out, and it literally bomb dived. I mean, it was like World War II into the foxhole, just like gone, just into this ditch. And so that's about the only interaction I've had with them. The same thing with the striped knee tarantula. I came in the first night I relocated it. I had it in a small critter keeper, and like I was explaining earlier with the spiders, realized I don't think it was enough space for it. And that one, it actually, I don't think it was, because this spider's been a lot chiller since it's been in the bigger place. But I came out and turned the bright light on, and it was on the wall, and it was like a cartoon. This thing tried to bolt to like run, but it couldn't get any traction on the glass where it was, and literally all you hear is just like legs hitting glass and it falling backwards onto the plants, and then it just like froze. Like, and then because I like looked at it and it just quit moving, so I turned the light off and like stepped back out for like literally 10 seconds and went back in there, and it was gone. It was back in the burrow, just not about its life. So now when I go in there in the middle of the night, I turn the little light on, the dimmer light, and it'll just like freeze. It'll stop whatever it's doing and it'll freeze. And I can walk, because I have it in a tank that's contact paper on the sides. So I can walk around the side where I can kind of see it, but it can't see me. And as soon as it really see me, it'll start doing its spider things again. And then if I just poke my head over, it'll just stop. And it'll just stay completely like a statue until like I move back again. And then like literally within like 5 seconds, because they're not necessarily the most like cognitively aware things, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's aware. It's like object permanence, like toddlers. You know what I mean? It's like when it can see me, I'm a real and present danger. When it can no longer see me, it immediately goes into like a non-danger mode. You know what I mean? Because I can literally just do this and it'll start walking, and then do this and it'll freeze and panic, and then do this and it'll keep doing what it's doing, and then and it'll literally, it did it like 4 or 5 times. My wife thought it was the craziest. She just stood there in the door watching it. Like, I mean, it was cartoon-esque. It was crazy.
It's so funny.
But so they're interesting little creatures. You should definitely get one. Like I said, just don't get a old world one here. Hold on. There was.
I want a cool colored one, since all my lizards tend to be the same color. I can't seem to not get one that's not.
I got the perfect one for you, especially if you want something kind of arboreal. So this is very, very similar to the pink toad, just kind of like a different color morph almost. I want the there's a purple version of this, but this is the Antilles pink toe.
Ooh.
And that's like red and pink, not really. That photo made it look, I guess it's because it's the phone too, but like you can see it's more like it's like neon colors. You can also this is what you'll like. So the Carabina Versicolor version of that, right? Is blue.
Oh yeah, for sure. Of course, it's blue.
Right. Do you want me to send you a screenshot of what that is?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
One right there.
I know how you are with
two
blue
different size tanks. I'm like ready for whichever size I need.
I mean, with the little babies, well, with the Versicolor, it's gonna change colors as it. So it's kind of like that green bottle blue I have that you like, the one with the tiger butt. As it grows, you're gonna see the colors and stuff grow in. It's just a little bit more difficult to keep as a sling, but it shouldn't really be too much of anything. Now, that's not one you should. I mean, I don't really handle my tarantulas. It's not really. It's kind of stressful for them, but some of them are pretty tolerant of it is the word I'm going to use, because they don't really like it, but they'll tolerate it, if that makes sense.
I don't handle my mantis either, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure she does not want that. And I'm like, I'll respect your boundaries. She's always hiding, so I always figure if something's hiding from me, they probably really don't want me touching them, so I just try to leave them.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, if you want one you could like kind of handle, a rose hair, Google this, because here's the problem with this. There's a Mexican fire leg and there's a Mexican red leg. They look almost completely identical. Okay, one is a puppy dog and one is demon spawn. Like, you feel me? So I don't want to give you the wrong name. Are we on the same page? Okay.
Oh yeah.
But this is the next one I'm looking at getting. And this is nothing really special. I just like their colors, and they're big like puppy dogs too. This is an Arizona blonde.
Oh, that one's pretty.
Right.
I like the contrast.
Right. 100%. But most of the like America, so you can find these actually in the United States. But most people think a lot of the like browner ones, like, because this is the same one, so the Arizona blonde, they find them boring. But like, see, I like the Jersey stripe like contrast on the legs. That's what I like about the Kameko that I have coming in.
The pet stores around here sell full size tarantulas like all day long.
Yeah. The one here, we have one here that does too, but they're kind of expensive. And
like $70 here.
That's not bad depending on what the tarantula is, especially as an adult. I mean,
I got for the pink coat. It's like $40 for an adult.
That's not bad. That's actually not bad at all. No, to be honest with you.
They've probably got the same 10 spiders there that they've had sitting there for a hot minute.
Well, the weird trick with that though is females live like 15 to 20 years on average. Males live 2 to 3 on average. So if they've been,
And who's prettier?
The females are prettier and bigger. The males, so basically, males pretty much normally get eaten after mating. And so as they've evolved because of that fact, if the male does escape being eaten after mating, it still dies after sexual maturity pretty quickly anyway. They're just haven't evolved to like stay in life because they're supposed to be eaten. You feel me?
Yeah, there'd be too many if they didn't.
Yep. So the males, regardless on if you mate them or not, tend to only still live between 2 to 5 is most, like, sometimes you'll find some that push like 7 or 8. On average, you see 2 to 3. Sometimes you'll see them pushing 5, depending on the species. But most male tarantulas, from what I've noticed, about 2 to 4 years is about a safe bet. So if they've had them that long, you might want to see if they're sexed. And the only way to really do that is to see if they'll have these balls on their pedipalps, or if they have a molt, you can look. They have these hooks on the inside of their wrist that they use so when they mate with the female to make sure she doesn't eat him, they'll go up and they'll put their front legs up, and when she does too, he'll take those hooks he has on the bottom of his legs and actually catch her fangs and kind of like hold them off of him so he can do what he needs to do, and then try to jettison out of there before things get too real. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how nature works. Like, nature is insane. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I know. Every time I'm like watching mating videos for stuff, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, I've got this big guy up here. He's ready to breed, and then I've got the one lady who, when we come up to time, they're both ready, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like seeing my super spendy dragon being bitten by, you know what I mean, like how they do that stuff. I'm like, I'm not gonna like that. Yeah. I don't want to, because I bought her as an adult. I spent way so much money on her. I'm gonna be like horrified.
Well, that's like, so Kronos, I just moved him in. So I told you I did like wife swap with the XXX and the olive I had, right? So he just went in with Cashew, who is actually the female I got from Crested Cuties. And she's crowned. She has gorgeous frills, and he's already bit one of them off during this process. So, but speaking of which, Luna's doing good. She's down there sleeping her bush. And so she's putting on some weight. I'm gonna, like I said, another couple weeks or so, get her mated to. We'll probably try Kronos here first. I just want to make sure she's good and like situated, because it's getting towards the cold time. So I want to make sure she's real good and situated in, so it's not too stressful on her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but she seems she eats like a
definitely
champion. So
nice. I finally got that one little dude eating, and he eats the little tiny one that I have. I don't know, he, she, whatever the patternless style.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's pooping, it's eating.
It was just putting it on the ground. You just needed to put the dish on the ground.
Yeah, but it's still not getting any bigger. Let me grab this thing. He's like, oh my geckos right here. Oh, no, I was just grabbing this gecko. All right, let's see. Where you at, my dude? Eat it. Like always hiding in the plants. I know you're here somewhere. Ah, hello. How did I know? And we're still just tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're eating and we're pooping. No. No, thank you. But still, I mean, I've had this guy since the summer. And I got nothing. Like, you got no reason to not grow. And you poop.
I mean, if he's pooping, he's eating.
Huge.
I mean, if he's pooping, he's eating. So I mean, there's really nothing else you can do. You know what I'm saying?
Right? I'm like, you little weirdo. Could you get big? I mean, because he's got super cool spots.
I mean, I guess you could try seeing if he'll eat like pinhead cricket or something and like power feed him, but even that might not really work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's just so small. I mean, I've shown him since he was a wee babe, and it's still, I mean, I got him in my smallest setup, and he's still just, nope. You know, you don't really want to be that kind of friends this time of night. You don't really like it. I woke you up. Sorry. They get kind of cranky with me if I'm like, yo, let's be friends, and it's past bedtime. They're like, we're not friends right now. Don't hold me. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, see,
like,
mine don't wake up till about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I come in here in the middle of the night and like literally the whole room is moving. Like everything is just all over the place. So
I don't know why, but they're all on like old lady hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only
but
thing
I got most of them from Texas and shipped over, so I don't know if they're maybe operating on different time zones. But I mean, I got them on my light system, so.
I was about to say, like, I don't know, they should adjust to your light, your day and light cycle in the room. The only thing I have that's weird, but I mean, it's because of what it is by nature. The hognose is diurnal, so it's supposed to be like up and about during the day, pretty much dusk till dawn. So if I come in during the day, it's doing laps. But everything else, aside from the ghost ball python, the little baby, she will come up to the edge of the glass tank and just sit there until I get her out, and I'll put her on the inside pocket of my hoodie, and she just wants to walk around for like an hour or two while I'm cleaning or whatever. And aside from that, like I don't see anybody until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And so, but I also don't feed until like 12, 1 in the morning, so that also could have something to do with it too. Because when I first started feeding, I was working, and I wasn't getting home from work until like 3:30 or 4 a.m. So I was feeding like super late into the night, like when I got home. So that also could be why they're all on that schedule too, because they're used to eating that late. So
Mine, I think usually we're closing it up around like probably 11:30, 12 at the latest with the axolotls, and they're usually the last ones because they take the longest.
yeah. See, the only one that's on a crazy light cycle is the tortoise, because they need technically like 12 to 15 hours of light. Everybody, actually, speaking of light, the boa, I don't know if you can see it. He, back there, you see that big dark cage back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he ripped his whole lighting down today and broke it. So I'm going to have to buy a whole new light fixture for the inside of that PVC. He pooped in his water dish and I guess didn't like the way it smelled, but I wasn't home to realize this for a couple hours. You know what I'm saying? So when I got home, he had ripped the lighting out, completely broke it. He had ripped the cable out of the heat panel, so it was like 70 degrees in there. You know, he had a straight temper tantrum this morning, so I got his heat panel back together, but the light's straight broken, like completely broken. I'm gonna have to figure out something else now for his lighting.
He
So
says, "Get this."
yeah, now he's like,
has just as much attitude, so yeah, I get it. He's
yeah.
got like, what are you doing? His mat is always like half of his mat is off of where it's supposed to be on the other side. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Super
Good.
cool. He does it every day though, so.
All right, honey. Well, we started a little bit late, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go. But I'm going to message you here in a second, and then I'm probably gonna have this video up. I've got spiders coming in tomorrow. I'm gonna record that, so I'll probably have those two videos sometime up within the next week or so. So, and I still have all those clips and stuff too. So if you have like a logo or anything.
I need to, because I'm actually putting together a website, because I found like this breeder website for dogs that I'm flipping into working it for the reptiles. Anyways, so I need to.
See, I need one as well. But I was gonna say, if you have one, send it to me, and I can put it in here somewhere. But I'm gonna put I'll get links to all of your social medias and stuff, and link that all up in post. So I'll send you. I'll see if I can send you the video before I post it. All right.
I'm interested. It'll be cool. All right, cool.
For sure. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right, bye.
All right. Bye.